Hi guys, this is Miss Cairo here. This is math lesson 4-1 part 2. And in this lesson, we are going to be working with shifting with decimal amounts. And we're going to be using our place value charts in order to solve these multiplication problems. So we're going to be taking decimals, which are numbers that are less than one whole, and we're going to be multiplying them by 10, 100, and 1000. And you might be thinking to yourself, multiplying decimals sounds really hard, but in actuality, we're going to be using the same process that we did in part 1, which is shifting over the numbers within our place values. And you will find that it's actually sort of should be maybe easy peasy, okay? So before we get into the activity book, let's work a little bit on our place value chart with some easier problems, and then we'll get into our activity book in just a little bit, okay? So get your place value chart out, and what I'd like you to do is let's review what the place values mean in terms of currency, and we'll write them into your place value charts and have them written on your place value charts for the remaining of the lesson. Okay, so for take a look at the hundreds place value. What I'd like you to do for the hundreds place value, always relate back to it to a $100 bill or $100 bills. So above 100, it's nice and small, write out $100, just like I did. In the tens place value, you're going to be thinking of $10 bills. So please write $10 above the tens. For the ones place value, think of $1 bills. So write out $1 there. Sorry, mine's kind of messy, but that's a $1. That's a dollar sign and then 1. For the tenths, now working our way over to decimal amounts or amounts that are less than one whole. Tenths, think of dimes. So write out the word dimes, or if you want to quickly draw like a coin with 10 cents in the middle, whatever way you want to do it really quickly. Tenths, think of dimes, okay? And we're always going to be relating everything back to ones. So a $1 bill, or split up into tenths, we would exchange it for the currency of dimes. If we were to take a $1 bill and split it up into hundredths, we would use the currency or exchange it for the currency of pennies. So above the hundredths, write the word penny. The thousands is a little tricky because we don't have any currency in the US that represents a thousandth of a dollar or thousandths of a dollar. So I want you to visualize if we were to take a penny and we were to cut it into 10 pieces, we'd be left with a tenth of a penny, or 1/1000th of a dollar would be one tenth of a penny. So above the thousandths word, write out 1/10 of a penny. Okay, does yours look like mine? I also have the pictures. Of course, you won't have that on yours, but you should have these amounts. And let's work with some easier multiplication problems before we move into the book. So whenever we're multiplying, we're always going to be relating everything back to currency and what it means in terms of, we're always going to be relating things back to $1. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean in a moment. So on the first line, I want you to write out 1/10. Let's write out 1/10. So there'd be a 0 in the ones and a 1 in the tenths. 1/10 relates to the currency of just one dime. Okay, so we would say 1/10 of a dollar. If I were to split my dollar bill into 10 pieces, which we wouldn't like rip a $10 bill into 10 pieces, we'd exchange it for dimes, and we take out one dime and say, this is 1/10 of a penny. What if we multiply 1/10, for example, by 10? So on the side, right, times 10, 1/10 times 10. Well, what that means in currency is if I were to take a dime, how many dimes should I create if I'm doing 1 times 10? What's 1 times 10? 10. So I would have 10 dimes. Oops. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and then we're going to write our answer on the next line. So 1/10 times 10 gives us what amount in terms of currency. Now I have 10 dimes. What is 10 dimes equal to in terms of money? And then we can exchange it also. If I were to exchange it, 10 dimes is equal to $1. So on the next line, 1/10 times 10 gives us $1. And let's talk about the shifting pattern that goes along with this rule too. Our one went from the tenths to the ones place value. It moved to the left. How many places? 1. Great. 1/10 is times 10 is equal to 1 whole. All right. Let's talk about pennies. So go ahead and erase your place value chart. Okay, so in your place value chart, let's write out 100ths on the top line. So 100ths is 0 in the 1, 0 in the tenths, and a 1 in the hundredth spot. Let's multiply this by 10. 100th times 10 gives us what amount? Well, let's talk about currency first. 100th represents 1 penny. 1 penny times 10 would leave us with 10 pennies. Let me quickly do it. 10 pennies can be exchanged for 1 dime. So 100th times 10 gives us 1/10. All right. And let's talk about the shifting pattern. The 1 went from the hundredths place value to the tenths. How many place values did that 1 move to? It moved just 1 place value. Yep, and that goes along with the rule. Anytime we multiply something by 10, the digits shift 1 place value to the left, and it doesn't matter if those digits are decimal or whole numbers, all the digits are going to shift to the left. Let's erase the second line with me, but keep that first line there. 100th. Let's talk about what if we multiply it by 100th by 100? How much does that give us in terms of currency? Well, 1 penny times 100 gives us how many pennies? 100 pennies. I'm not going to copy paste out 100 pennies here, but just visualize it. 100 pennies can be exchanged for currency. It can be exchanged for a $1 bill. So I'm going to put my 1 in my ones place. And this holds true. 100ths times 100 is equal to 1 or $1 bill. And let's talk about the shifting pattern for this one. The 1 went from the hundredths place over to 1, 2 over to the ones place. How many place values did that 1 move if we multiply it by 100? 2 place values. Yep. And that holds true to that rule. When we multiply something by 100, the digits shift to the left 2 place values. And then something to notice here, always relate these values back to $1. We see that 1 penny is 100th of a dollar, or $1 bill is 10 times the amount as 1 penny. Okay, so thanks for following along with the quick introduction. Let's get into our activity book now. So go ahead and erase. Okay, open up your activity book to page 116. 116, and keep your place value chart out because we're going to be using it to solve all these problems. So page 116, do you have it open and ready with me? Great, let's take a look at the heading. It says shifts with decimal amounts. Do you see that heading? Again, we wrote above the word shift in lesson 1. What word? Shift means to move. A synonym for shift means move. We're going to be moving the digits, we're going to be moving the digits within our place value chart, and we're going to be multiplying by 10, 100, and 1,000, and we're going to be following that rule that we were focusing on for part 1 with shifting it a certain amount of times depending on what we're multiplying. Okay, so take a look with me. Let's take a look at the introduction where underneath the heading it says it costs. All right, read along with me. It says it costs 412 thousandths dollars or cents, or 41 and 2/10 cents for a factory to make a red phantom marble. The money is shown here. Okay, so that's a really strange amount. In our currency, again, we only work with typically currency in terms of like money. Digits, the digits only go to the right of the decimal, just 2 place values. So in money terms, we only have digits in the tenths or the hundreds. Never do we see a sign in a store that has a digit or amount in the thousands place. So this number should look really strange to you. And why the book chooses to do this is because we have to know what the thousands place value looks like in 5th grade. And we're talking about a factory here. So when companies are making many of the same thing, every penny and even every tenth of a penny counts for these big companies. So their exact amount to make this red marble, do you guys have any marbles at home? Would be 4 dimes, 1 penny, and then 2/10 of a penny. So we're talking about really, really exact amounts here. All right, and then you'll see the visual on the side. 4 pennies, 1 dime, 2/10 is what I just said, and that's just for one marble. And we're going to be seeing what happens to the currency when we multiply it by 10, 100, and 1,000 in the next problems, okay? So on your place value, what I'd like you to do on the first line is I'd like you to copy this amount into your place value chart. So 412 thousandths is written out with 0412, and the correct place value is just like that. Does yours look like mine with your place value chart? Great, let's keep going. So keep that handy. I'm going to have to rewrite it out actually. Okay. And then it says, oh, mine's really messy. Answer each question about the cost of making different numbers of the phantom marbles, okay? So number 25, and this is again on page 116, it says, how much does it cost to make 10 phantom marbles? Well, let's look at the visual on the side here. We have 10 phantom marbles as the heading, and we're multiplying our original amount times 10. And then underneath it, it says 10 times 412 thousandths is equal to, and they already have the amount here, $4.12. Well, how did they get that? They didn't really tell us how they already got that. Let's do it on our place value chart. So we have 412 thousandths on our place value chart, and we're going to multiply it by 10. So nice and small on the side, you could just put 10. Remember, the first part of this lesson, we learned anytime we multiply something by 10, we move the digits to the left how many times? 1 time. So our 4 is going to go from the 10th spot over to the ones. That's 1 place value. And on the second row, go ahead and place a 4 in the ones place value, just like I did. And all the digits follow. So the 1 goes from the hundredths to the tenths if we're moving at 1 place value, and the 2 is moving to the from the thousands to the hundredths. And then we get our answer of 4 12 hundredths, or $4.12. And that's after making 10 phantom marbles, and that goes along with what the book said. So let's write that answer in, $4.12, into your book, page 116, number 25. The answer is $4.12. That's how much it costs to make 10 marbles. All right, number 26, it says, what happens to each coin when it is multiplied by 10? Well, for example, the 10th spot, we would have 10 dimes multiplied by 10 would give us 40 dimes, and we can exchange 40 dimes for 4 $1 bills. Same thing with the hundredths. I'd have 1 penny here to represent 1 hundredth. 1 hundredth times 10 would give us 10 pennies, and we could exchange 10 pennies for 1 dime, and so on. So each coin gets bigger Obviously, by how much, it becomes how much times as great? It becomes 10 times as great. So for number 26 to answer, it becomes, so each digit, when it's multiplied by 10, it becomes 10 times as great. Oh my gosh, mine is so messy, but let me reread what I wrote. It becomes 10 times as great. Do you have that for your answer for 26? 10 times as much. And then number 27 says what happens to each digit? Well, in terms of its value becomes how many times as great? 10 times as great. So its value, each digit's value, its value, its value becomes 10 times as great. Again, mine is so messy. I hope yours is much neater than mine. I'll reread it one more time. Oops, it should be its value becomes 10 times as great. Okay, number 28. When you multiply by 10, does each digit shift to the right or to the left? This is to the right. This is to the left. Did the 4 go this direction, right, or to left? It went to the left. It went this way, 1 over. Same with the 1. It went to the left one time. The 2 went this way, 1 time over. So it is the left. When we multiply by 10, the digits go to the left. They're becoming bigger. And then 29 says, how many places does each digit shift? How many places? We said 1. Each digit goes 1 to the left when we multiply by 10. And then before we move on, what I want you to do is put a big circle around times 10. All these problems related to multiplying by 10. And these are all the rules that this follows. And this should look familiar from when we were multiplying whole numbers by 10, right? Okay, let's keep going.